What is the homeowners association? Are they good? Are they bad? But more importantly, what should you pay attention to as a buyer if you're buying into a community that has a homeowners association? Stay right there. We're covering all of that on this episode. Welcome back. My name is Dale Corpus. I'm a realtor in the Tri-Valley area in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area, and I post videos every Friday about all things real estate. So let's start right at the very beginning. Let's talk about the definition. What is the Homeowners Association? Essentially, it's a group of individuals or a committee, if you will, that basically is responsible for making and enforcing the rules of a community. So generally it consists of a board of directors, and on that board of directors is voted on by the community. So those people have been voted into office or into that board, so to speak, and then the board makes the rules and also enforces them on behalf of the community as a whole. So homeowners association generally has something called CC&Rs, which are the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. They basically are the regulations of the community. And then there's also the rules that are enforced within that community. So the CC&Rs are generally created when the community is founded, and then the rules and regulations can be changed over time, etc. CC&Rs can also be changed, but it is a larger process, and keep in mind, while the board of directors makes and enforces rules, sometimes the rules have to be approved by the entire community before they can actually be enforced or approved to be acted on. So that's kind of gives you a general idea of what a homeowners association is. While this video isn't really to talk about whether HOAs are good or bad, everybody's going to have their opinion on them. I am personally in favor of them. I have a rental property in the Bay Area that has a homeowners association, and I'm appreciative of that very fact that they enforce the rules, right? There are rules in the community which are nice to have because, in San Ramon, for example, if you can, it's a community that doesn't have an HOA, you can work on your car in the driveway and leave it on blocks and paint your house any color and so on and so forth. And while that's cool for some, I prefer a much cleaner look, a cleaner slate, if you will. By slate, it's probably not the right word, but presentation of the house, curb appeal, what have you. I prefer anything to not look exactly the same, but to look nice and be manicured. And an HOA is good in enforcing and keeping those rules. Because when you don't abide by them, per se, then there are fines and things associated with it. And so that's why I'm a fan of HOAs. The downside is obviously there are fees associated with it, etc. But I'm a big fan. And so today we're actually going to talk about buying into an association. What should you pay attention to when you're looking at buying a condo, a house, or whatever that has an actual homeowners association? And outside a fee, so HOA is probably going to be one of the most important things for most people, right? Because it's a fee that they're going to pay every month, so it's something they're going to pay attention to. So while the fee is extremely important, things to keep in mind with that fee are what it actually covers. So not only should you be aware of how much that fee is per month, but what does it actually cover? Does it cover the exterior of the building? Does it cover the roof? Does it cover the paint? Does it cover any insurance? Is it only the common area? Are there amenities in the community? Are there pools? Are there tennis courts? Any of that stuff. So what does the HOA fee that you pay every month, what does it go towards? And along the same lines, keep in mind, like when you look at an HOA fee, have your agent, whoever it is, go back and look at least in the last 5 to 10 years of that community and see what the HOA fee was for that period of time. Has it gone up every single month or every single year rather? Generally, HOA fees are set for the year, so has it gone up every year? Has it been maintained for a couple of years? Has it ever gone up? Those are things that you want to pay attention to, right? If it's gone up every year, chances are it's going to continue to go up every year. And if it's remained stable for some time, then again, it's kind of looking at the history of the fee is going to give you an idea of where it's going to go in the future, at least in my opinion. So make sure when you're paying attention to the fee, how much it is, what it covers, where it has been in the past, really pay attention to that. And secondly, look at the financials. You're going to get a bunch of documents when you buy a property, a large packet of CC&Rs, rules and regulations, financial statement. Financial statements are really important because they give you an idea of how well funded the community is. And this is really important because this kind of goes back to what I mentioned a moment ago about knowing the HOA fees and what they've been over the past. They give you an idea of where they're going. If you could see how well-funded a community is, then you'll have an idea of where it's going to go in the future. Is there money reserved for different projects to take place in the future? Because what happens is when you buy into these communities that have HOAs and they are not well-funded, then there's assessments when things have to be done. When buildings need to be painted, the roofs need to be done, there's assessments, which means that the entire community gets hit with a fee. They're responsible for paying on top of the HOA fee because the community didn't have enough money in the reserves in order to do these improvements. So when you have a well-funded community, there's money being put away in reserves, in these different categories, so that when things come up, there's enough money in that budget to take care of them. And then, again, along the same lines, make sure you're paying attention to the minutes, right? So the minutes in the community are generally done. They recap what happens at board meetings and when you buy into an association. You get to know in the last 6 months, the last year of actual minutes, read through those minutes. We should read through them because the minutes are going to go over what has been talked about in board meetings. So any future assessments that may be coming up, a change in HOA fees that may be coming up, that's going to be addressed in those minutes. And when you're buying into these communities, you get a lot of paperwork. So there's a ton of paperwork and a lot of people just skip over these documents. They sign off on them, they don't review them, and then they come to find out there's an assessment that's happening. The association is low on their budget or in reserves, and then you end up having to pay for that when the community is well funded. So make sure you're paying attention to these documents initially so that you're not getting hit with some crazy fees down the road by surprise. And lastly, within the association, make sure you're looking at things in the rules and regulations that may apply to you, like the pet policy. If you have multiple pets, if you have large dogs, anything like that, make sure that when you're reviewing HOA docs, that you're looking at those things that pertain to you. Like pets, right? Because you don't want to buy into a community and not having reviewed that and find out that they only allowed 1 large dog or 2 dogs and you have 5 or whatever. So make sure when you're looking into communities that have HOAs that you're paying attention to these things, because I see it often that people just sign off on them and not look at them. It's a big part of the community that you are buying into. If you're buying into a community that has a homeowners association, so just make sure you're reviewing this stuff. What the HOA fees cover, know the minutes, know the financials, review this stuff and reach out to your agent. They should be able to help guide you and ask the right questions. If you can't ask them or don't know the questions to answer, chances are if they're an experienced agent, they know the questions to ask and or get the answers to the questions that you may have about the homeowners association. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You may also want to check out my past video on the 5 mistakes to avoid when getting a mortgage loan. And the link to that video is on the top corner of the screen. Again, I'm Dale Corpus from eXp Realty in San Ramon, California. I help buyers and sellers throughout the Bay Area and the Tri-Valley, and I'll see you on my next video.